Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're talking about putting together a baby money plan. When you're having a baby, so much time is spent planning for the actual labour with birth classes and books, but the birth can actually be the easy bit, well, relatively easy, as you can have people around you and you can take pain medication, but it's when you get home and you're on your own that it can get pretty tricky. And it can be especially hard financially if you've not planned for the change in income or added expenses. Financial stress when you're already sleep deprived can affect your mental health and place extra strain on your relationship with your partner, and that's not ideal. When having a baby, it's important to not only plan for the labour and birth, but to also plan financially for 3 distinct periods: your pregnancy, your maternity leave, and your return to work. Let's look at these 3 in turn. Pregnancy. This is the first period you need to plan for, and to make this easier, you can actually do this before you even get pregnant. No one knows what sort of pregnancy they're going to have. You might not get any morning sickness, or you might have severe sickness and not be able to get out of bed or even function during your pregnancy. So having an emergency cash reserve before you get pregnant is important, as you will have a lot to buy, especially if this is your first child. Expenses such as a cot, pram, car seat, baby monitor, etc. all add up, and quickly too. You can save money on these items by buying them on sale, shopping around online, or buying second-hand. You'll also need new clothes yourself while you're pregnant to accommodate your ever-changing shape, and postpartum too. And you'll need to stock up on clothes for the baby before they arrive. And again, there are some great bargains to be had by buying second-hand. Myself, I've bought and sold many maternity, nursing, and baby clothes on Facebook Marketplace with great success. Maternity leave. This is the time when you'll be off work. The first thing to think about here is how long you want to take off work and what your income will be during this period. This will help you work out how much you will need to dip into your savings, or what adjustments you need to make to your spending to continue to live within your means. In the UK, statutory maternity leave is 52 weeks, made up of ordinary maternity leave, which is the first 26 weeks, and additional maternity leave, which is the last 26 weeks. You don't have to take 52 weeks, but you must take 2 weeks leave after your baby is born, or 4 weeks leave if you work in a factory. Usually the earliest you can start your leave is 11 weeks before the expected week of childbirth. Leave will also start the day after the birth if your baby is early, or automatically if you're off work for a pregnancy-related illness in the 4 weeks before the week that your baby is due. Statutory maternity pay, SMP, is paid for up to 39 weeks. You get 90% of your average weekly earnings before tax for the first 6 weeks, followed by £156.66 or 90% of your weekly earnings, whichever is lower, for the next 33 weeks. SMP is paid in the same way as your wages, for example monthly or weekly, and tax and national insurance will be deducted. If you take shared parental leave, you'll get statutory shared parental pay, SHPP. This is £156.66 a week, or 90% of your average weekly earnings, whichever is lower. Statutory maternity pay usually starts when you take your maternity leave. It starts automatically if you're off work for a pregnancy-related illness in the 4 weeks before the week that your baby is due. You qualify for statutory maternity leave if you're an employee, not a worker, and you give your employer the correct notice. It doesn't matter how long you've been with your employer, how many hours you work, or how much you get paid. It's slightly different for statutory maternity pay. To qualify for this, you must earn on average at least £123 a week. You must give the correct notice and proof you're pregnant, and have worked for your employer continuously for at least 26 weeks, continuing into the qualifying week. This is the 15th week before the expected week of childbirth. If you usually earn an average of £123 or more a week, and you only earned less in some weeks because you were paid but not working because you were on furlough under the coronavirus job retention scheme, you may still be eligible. To claim maternity leave, tell your employer when your baby is due at least 15 weeks before your due date and when you want to start your maternity leave. Your employer can ask for this in writing, and they must write to you within 28 days confirming your start and end dates. To claim statutory maternity pay, you must tell your employer that you want to stop work to have a baby and the day that you want your SMP to start. You must give them at least 28 days notice, in writing if they ask for it, and proof that you're pregnant. Your employer must confirm within 28 days how much SMP you will get and when it will start and stop. You might get more than the statutory amount of leave and pay if your employer has a company maternity scheme. They cannot offer less than the statutory amount. If you're not eligible for statutory maternity pay, you could get maternity allowance from the government instead. Once you know what your income is going to be throughout your maternity leave, take a look at your expenses. The difference between the two will be how much you need to budget for. Now let's look at your return to work. The first decision here is whether or not you actually return to work. Many people weigh up what their income could be against childcare costs and don't see the point in going back to work, as one pretty much cancels out the other. But bear in mind that childcare costs are not an expense to just one person. They're a household expense. Bear in mind that taking a long career break can mean your career doesn't progress and you could end up earning less. This can have a huge impact on your future earnings and your retirement planning. But when you do return to work, it may not be on a full-time basis and you may have extra childcare expenses to budget for. Your savings may not build up during this time, but the important thing here is just not to go backwards. Too often, people don't plan for this phase of their pregnancy and end up in serious debt as a result. Whatever stage you're at in your pregnancy journey, it's never too late or too soon to get your finances in order. Having a plan for when you have a baby can help take away a lot of the stress.